Finally, the truth about Toyota hybrid vehicles. What am I talking about? What does that mean? What am I referring to? Well, have you ever had the opportunity, or maybe you currently have the opportunity to buy a Toyota vehicle, but you're not sure if you should go for the gas model or if you should go for the hybrid model? You know, maybe you've never owned a hybrid before. No one in your family really has had a hybrid vehicle before, and you're not quite sure about that hybrid Toyota RAV4, Corolla, Highlander, Grand Highlander, Toyota Tundra, and you're thinking about going the non-hybrid equivalent. Well, we're going to talk about all the amazing benefits and why it's a fantastic idea to go with a hybrid Toyota instead. All right, first things first, I want to talk about general MSRP cost from a non-hybrid Toyota to a hybrid equivalent. For some reason, there may or may not be this misconception out there that the hybrid options are way more money or so much more expensive when you're comparing the price tag versus the non-hybrid, but that's not exactly the case. That's right, so let's take a look at the RAV4 for example. So the gas non-hybrid 2024 Toyota RAV4 LE all-wheel drive has a Canadian MSRP of $33,150. When you compare that against the hybrid equivalent, so this is a 2024 RAV4 hybrid LE all-wheel drive, that Canadian MSRP is $35,950. So that's only a price difference of about $2,800 to go up to the hybrid option. Another example, let's say the 2024 non-hybrid Toyota Corolla, that has a Canadian MSRP of $24,490, whereas the hybrid equivalent, so that's the 2024 Corolla Hybrid LE in the front wheel drive, has an MSRP of $26,790. That's only a price gap of about $2,300 on the Corolla to go to the hybrid option. And that's not all. Let's take a look at the Highlander XLE non-hybrid for 2024, Canadian MSRP of $49,450, whereas the hybrid option, so that's a 2024 Highlander hybrid, this is the non-grand, in the XLE trim, has a Canadian MSRP of $52,450. That's exactly a $3,000 price gap to go from the non-hybrid to the hybrid. All right, so the no-brainer in terms of savings is definitely pertaining to the fuel economy. Yes, of course, pretty much every hybrid Toyota vehicle, when you compare it against its non-hybrid option, is going to have a better fuel economy, much better fuel economy than the non-hybrid version, whether it's the RAV4, the Corolla, the Highlander. So right there is one large benefit, but there's many other benefits. You got to keep in mind, for the most part, all of these hybrid option versus non-hybrid options that we're talking about, the hybrid generally has the same size gas tank than the non-hybrid, so it's costing you the same amount to fill it up. It's just lasting you longer. And actually, on some models, which I believe the Corolla lineup, maybe the Corolla Cross is the one, or the Corolla Sedan, those ones actually have less of a tank size when compared to the hybrid option. So you're actually spending less at the gas pump, and it's still lasting you longer, which is fantastic all around. Let's keep going on with all these hybrid benefits. So keep in mind, for the most part, the hybrid option versus the non-hybrid option, when you're talking about these vehicles, generally have about the same horsepower. Usually they'll have a little bit more torque, but the overall driving experience on a, let's say, let's use the RAV4 for example, on a RAV4 hybrid versus the non-RAV4 hybrid is much better, much more enjoyable, because there is so much more responsiveness on the gas pedal, especially on takeoff, because you do have an electric motor that's assisting with your driving and with your acceleration. And for the most part, you get about 100% of the torque instantly upon acceleration. So it's a fantastic, very smooth, very powerful and responsive drive on the hybrid Toyotas versus the non-hybrid. And this is across all the model lineups, whether it's the Corolla, whether it's the Tundra, whether it's the Highlander, whether it's the Corolla Cross. much more enjoyable drive on the hybrid. If you've owned a non-hybrid Toyota and switched to the hybrid, you know what I'm talking about. So let me hear it. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. All right, continuing on with the story of benefits on the hybrid Toyotas, we're going to talk about resale value. Yes, generally the Toyota hybrid option, when it comes time to sell it or trade it in, you'll generally get a higher percentage resale value when compared to the non-hybrid option. There's a couple of reasons why. First of all, the hybrids are higher in demand. There's less of them. And overall, Toyota's got a fantastic reputation with the hybrid powertrain system since the late 90s. So there's a lot of trust there, which definitely helps with the resale value. So yes, you might spend a little bit more getting the hybrid option versus the non-hybrid, but generally you can plan to get most of that increase back when it comes time to sell the vehicle. All right, the next one is a big one. It's another benefit, of course, and it's pertaining to the general overall average maintenance cost on a Toyota hybrid versus a non-Toyota hybrid. Now, I elaborated on this a lot in some other videos. I did a specific video on this, which kind of blew up a little bit. It's got close to 1 million views. I'm going to put a link to that video in the description below, and also a card up here in the video. You can go back later and watch it. But generally, on normal driving circumstances and normal driving history, you can anticipate to have a lower routine maintenance or wear and tear maintenance cost on a hybrid Toyota versus a non-hybrid for various reasons, which I went through in this video. So go back later and check it out. Okay, now here's an exciting one. And yes, this is another benefit, one of the last benefits almost. I've got one more after this. But keep in mind, when you're going in to purchase a Toyota vehicle and you're contemplating the hybrid, the non-hybrid, keep in mind that with the hybrid, you're usually opening yourself up to way more options, way more packages, way more trims, colors, and so on. For example, using the RAV4 again, there's about 8 different models you can choose from on the RAV4 hybrid, spanning all the way from the LE grade to the XSE, XSE Tech grades, the Woodland Edition, which is very different. That's only on the hybrid option. So keep that in mind. Even with the, for example, the Highlanders, for example, you can't get a Highlander hybrid Bronze Edition. Sorry, you can't get a Highlander non-hybrid Bronze Edition or Nightshade. You've got to go hybrid. You can't get a Grand Highlander Platinum in the non-hybrid. You have to go with the hybrid powertrain system. Certain configurations, a lot of Toyota's XSE trims are on the hybrid only, with the exception of the Camry from 2024. Now in 2025, it's only hybrid. But if you wanted a RAV4 with a black roof and piano black accents, you'd have to go hybrid. Same thing with a lot of other trims. So keep it in mind. If you want a more open and more options when you're choosing and selecting your Toyota vehicle, consider the hybrid option. Okay, here's the last and final benefit, although there's probably so many more benefits I didn't mention in this video. If you know any other benefits that I didn't mention, please mention them in the comments below. If you're currently a Toyota owner of a hybrid Toyota, that is, or if you're about to be, let me know what you think in the comments below. But the final and last benefit is the absolutely very cool sound that these hybrid Toyotas make when you're approaching or slowing down at an intersection, let's say, or a stop sign, or when you're in reverse. If you don't know what I'm talking about, there is a pedestrian pedestrian alert system built into these Toyota hybrid vehicles. For the most part, it's usually somewhere at the front of the vehicle, and it's basically like a sonar system or a speaker system that kind of engages when your vehicle is doing certain things and falling under certain criteria. So if you're not sure what I'm talking about, I actually did a full video on this. I forget what the title is called, but I'm going to also put a link to that video in the description below, and I'm going to put a card in this video as well, so you guys can click it, go into the description if you want, check out that video later on. But it is a very cool sound, kind of sounds like a church choir when you're going into reverse on, for example, these RAV4 hybrids or many other hybrid Toyota vehicles. But guys, that's about it that I have in terms of benefits of why choosing a hybrid Toyota over the non-hybrid is such a great and fantastic idea. If you've already done this and you were on the fence and you went hybrid, great choice, guys. You're not gonna be disappointed. I hope you enjoyed this video and discussion. We'll catch you on the next one, guys. Take care.